right, thank you very much, Andrea Horvath. I was just reminded, we have had great leaders in the past. We looked at Tecumseh, we looked at people all over the place, Geronimo, everybody who stood for this land. And so we call upon our ancestors to help us to be able to fight this battle. I'm looking for Grand Chief Stan Beardy to say a few words.
Watch here, Stan Beardy Snikas, what's going to make Doji Grand Chief in Shabasky Nation.
Yeah.
I support that we have to fight against HST. I'm from the far north, along the coast of Hudson Bay, James Bay. My territory covers 2/3 of Ontario. Ontario government and the federal government have been stealing our lands, our children. Now they want to impose an unfair tax on us. And as long as we tolerate the situation, it will continue. I think we need to mobilize our people. We have to mobilize our people across Ontario to make sure that our people are aware of their rights and that we must stop this tax. It's going to have a heavy burden on my people in the far north. We're already struggling just to meet the basic needs of our people. So I'm calling on everybody in Ontario, all the First Nations people and other groups to work with us to stop this unfair tax.
Today we heard a leader say that no negotiations. That means that they don't want a rebate system. They want this immunity to HST. Grand Chief Phillips.
No HST! No HST! No HST! I don't care what political party you come from. I don't care who you represent here. There's fundamental rights in this country, and let's talk about dialogue. We can't let governments force things on us. Ladies and gentlemen, all stripes, all colors, we need to let this government know right now that we're done. No more. No more. HST is the line. No more HST. No more imposition of foreign policy without talking to it. That's what we're talking about. Foreign policy, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about independent nations. I come from an association that has 8 independent nations. That's the respect that they want. That's what they're talking about here. I'm here to tell the provincial government that you talk to the people about this. You talk to everybody about this, because we're not going away this time. We're not going to let our people suffer because a provincial government thinks that they give more money to corporations, because provincial government thinks they should give more tax breaks to other people that have already got money. This is not going to help the people. It's not going to help the people.
No HST.
No!
Not ever! Grand Chief.
Bonjour, we don't say this is the cost.
Not ever! Grand Chief.
Bonjour, we don't say this is the cost. Patrick Madabi, Grand Council Chief in the Shnabek Nation. What we're seeing here in this country is more oppression of our people. In Canada is one of the only signatures, non-signatures to the Declaration of Indigenous Rights around the world. That gives you an example. Ladies and gentlemen, when they started taking our kids to the residential schools in the 60s scoop, we should have drew our line in the sand. When they started cutting back the education of our children, to this day we should have drawn our line in the sand. Ladies and gentlemen, when they started taking our kids to the residential schools in the 60s scoop, we should have drew our line in the sand. When they started cutting back the education of our children, to this day we should have drawn our line in the sand. When they make our people live in deplorable housing and there's backlogs of housing in our communities, we should have drawn our line in the sand. There are many, many issues where we should have drawn our line in the sand. This is the one, folks. And I'm calling on all of our people right across all of our territories to wake up. This is the issue, folks, that we've got to stop this. We are being forced and subjugated to a municipalization of our communities, a direct violation of our Aboriginal treaty rights, and if we allow this to happen, we might as well fold up our... go home. They're taking our pass. So, it's a shame. So I'm calling on all of our citizens to mobilize and show over the next several weeks and months that we're not going to take this anymore. I'm also calling on also citizens of this whole province and across the country, who you're also getting nailed with this unfair tax, to make it well clearly known to the government that you're not going to take this anymore as well. No HST!
No HST! To our peoples in our communities, remind them, let them know, do not pay the HST. We already have businesses out there who are already telling our people that they cannot have the exemption, the immunity at this stage already. Do not let them do that to you. Do not pay the tax. Chief Gilbert.
My message this afternoon to the provincial government, to Harper's government, is this: that our First Nations have paid all of the taxes necessary to run this government, or this country, through the resources that we shared with you, and we get no benefit from them. The community that I represent, Walpole Island First Nation, Kedgewanon Territory, unceded territory, because there is no treaty affecting the homeland that I come from. We are sovereign in that sense, but we share other territories with visitors, and all of those resources have been taken from us. Walpole Island is considered as a progressive First Nation in Ontario, but I am faced with over 500 families that are on Ontario Works because there's no jobs. There's no resources for them to develop to be able to have the kind of life that most Canadians enjoy. I want to say this: as First Nations people, our entire lives are politicized from the day of our birth to the day of our death. And we say no more, because we did not in any treaty give that right to any other government. That is ours, and we're not going to take it any longer. I want to say to you that support the Liberal government, that voted for them, that we as chiefs of the political confederacy met in June 1st, and the Minister of Finance or Revenue, Mr. Duncan, stated to us without any coercion from us 3 times that exemption at the point of sale is an Aboriginal and treaty right. This government with lip service has said they stand with us, but to date they have not in action. Words and actions must be tied together, linked together, in order for integrity to be in this government. I call upon them to do that. I want to say to Mr. Flaherty, in a letter that he sent to the ministers here in Ontario, he stated this: that First Nations can have tax exemption on the reserve. I say that that is an apartheid statement, because my rights as an Anishinaabe is not limited to a location. It is something inherent to me because I was born into the Anishinaabe nation. And our people signed treaties with the government, and it's time for the government to honor those treaties. And I say to Mr. Harper and the governments that are supporting this HST, if you're not going to honor our rights, build some ships and go back to where you came from. No HST.